back to the DEVpreneur-podcast. Da-na-na-na-na-na. I think we need a more hype opening. That's what I think.
Okay.
Although I feel like our opening right now like kind of accurately captures what it's like to just be like working on a project, which is just like keyboard strokes and house music. Yeah. So you know what? Maybe we got it right. You get it.
Sweet.
What's up? Yeah. Another week of working on Clientelify for me. Also had some family stuff happen this week. My family's fine, but there was some kind of sad stuff that happened that I don't really want to get into on this. My family's fine. There's some stuff that didn't end up okay. But fortunately, I guess, wasn't one of my family members. So I was tending to that a little bit. But yeah, otherwise I set up the first customer on Clientelify, which was exciting.
Amazing.
And so I think his business partner is also going to come onto it. So I'm giving them a huge discount because they're my buddies and they're coming on early. So people that are coming on early, I'm giving a 20% discount and I gave them an extra 30%. So they have a 50% discount. The margins on the product are still healthy. So I'll still make a little bit of money on that account. But it's just good to have people coming on, using it, paying for it, and it helps me sell it to other people.
I'm going to grandfather them in, I guess. Is that
yeah, totally.
Yeah. Sweet.
And that's part of the motivation as well for them coming on. What else? Yeah, I was pretty excited after I talked to them at length. Seems like I absolutely have some small features to add. And I actually just finished the design, which I showed you for my new landing page, which I think does a pretty good job of succinctly explaining what the product does. It has some screenshots and some stats for why it would help your small service-based business to use it in terms of missed appointments, more booked appointments, whatever. But yeah, it sounds like I kind of, for the most part, have all the key features that are the biggest impact. Which is exciting because you never really know until you get out there and talk to people. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff the product doesn't do, but for now, I don't really want to do email marketing. It's kind of a totally separate thing to me. And there's a lot of good products that are pretty easy to set up, like MailChimp for that. And then there's some other stuff I don't think I'm ever going to do, like insurance billing stuff. I might do billing, but insurance claims, I don't think I want to do. It's just it just sounds like a rabbit hole. And it's one of those things where, yeah, if you can do it, I guess the person that wants to use your product can check a box and use it. But unless you're really good, to me, it's it's not even worth doing it. You need to be one of the best products or you just don't bother, to me. For something like insurance claims, which presumably are kind of important to get right.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, that's what's been going on with me. So prod is fully deployed. I have sign-in kind of hidden right now intentionally until I launch my new landing page, and then it won't be. But I'm going to be kind of quiet and just meeting with people in person for the first couple of paid customers. And then probably in a month and a half, I'll put it on Product Hunt. After I have a couple customers. Yeah, so that'll be cool. I think I'm going to try and get someone with an actual following on Product Hunt to put it on. So I don't know how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to have to start tweeting at those people. Yeah, I would love
to do makers, popular makers, who are in this space.
So those are the people I'm going to tweet at. But so the people I'm pretty sure you can see on Product Hunt who has however many followers. And whenever someone who hunts your product hunts it, all of their followers get notified. So you want the person with the most followers. So I'm just going to try and pursue one of the top 20.
I see. Yeah.
Because a huge part of winning product of the day or whatever, it's just getting in front of the most people. It's not having the best product. It's kind of if you sell cheeseburgers, McDonald's does not sell the best cheeseburgers. They might sell the most cheeseburgers though. They're just in front of everybody, you know? Nice. Yeah, so I'm going to try and get it in front of people, maybe get some customers from that. That'd be really cool if I did. And then, yeah, the year is just going to be writing content for inbound marketing and just meeting people, selling, adding small features. I have a bunch of small features I want to add. But yeah, that's my quick update. What about you?
Hell yeah. What have I been working on? I still vocal medic, working on Teams still. It's kind of slow. A lot of starting to wind down a bit because of I guess the holiday season.
Yeah.
And doing a lot more, I guess, hangouts and stuff. They just came out of nowhere. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. So Vocomatic Teams that's for people collaborating on voice to text files, like for research purposes.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, we're going to put it out there, and then we're going to see so when people make a team, we're going to put them on an email sequence to find out exactly what they're using it for, put them on a phone call potentially, and just kind of learn from what they're using it for, why, things like that. Right. So, and that's kind of on the theme of like growth, because they will have to refer people.
Yeah.
Right. Because like you can't build a team with nobody, right? Like a one person. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's that, and seeing how that goes, I guess. But there's that, and then there's kind of like a mini focus on SEO. It's great. Like over the year, it's been like kind of going up, which is great. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah. It's cool when you actually like listen to, for example, podcasts and lessons and stuff like that around that. They tend to say the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And that's until you actually do it. And then because SEO takes time, right? It needs to kind of like simmer. You start to see the results 60 days, 90 days from when you started implementing what was said by the pros. Yeah. And you're like, they're right. Obviously, they're pros, right? So, but it's cool. It's cool to kind of see that, and it doesn't look like it's going to slow down, especially now that we're starting to take or like kind of like doubling down more on it, type of thing. So
yeah, what kind of stuff have you been adding?
So one was looking at, that's the thing, right? So the one thing that these people are saying is, sure, you can add, but what you should actually be doing is updating. So
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. So if you have like an article, or if you have a blog post, so I have one blog post that's doing pretty well. And what I did was I refreshed it like back in the summer, and it's now just starting to like every it's like week on week, it's always like a positive growth in terms of like people coming onto it. And I'm like, okay, cool. So like what other pages are there that we could update as well? So, add more videos, add text and stuff like that. But yeah, I think 2020 is going to be more of that, and exploring other channels as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
SEO.
Yeah. That was a channel. I still think it's a really cool channel. I'm not super good at it. I'm trying to get better at it. But I thought originally that was like kind of how I was going to launch. And I think because I'm charging a recurring fee for everybody, and the fee for a lot of people I'll be bringing on will be around like $250 Canadian a month. It's just easier to start and get feedback manually, like manual outreach. And then once I have a reasonable amount of people on it, I can kind of switch into automated marketing. And fortunately, because I originally thought like I'm just going to go straight into that, the sign up process is completely automated. So I don't actually need to do anything to set someone up. So it's like ready for when I decide to do that. But I think I'm gonna put it off a little bit.
Okay, fair enough.
Or it won't be the focus anyway. It won't be the focus.
It's more so the outreach stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, just because like we need so few customers to get to profitability. Like if we could get 10 companies come on that are on the bigger plan, and I think most companies that come on will be on the bigger plan because it's 10 or fewer users, that will get us to like $2,500 a month, which would be like a pretty real amount. And then that would buy us some time to kind of be like, okay, now we should work on inbound marketing, or whatever channel we kind of want to go into. But I think manual outreach is going to be the fastest one at first, I think. And just like friends of friends. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's my hunch. That's my gut feeling. We're going to give it a go, and we'll see. It's also the best way to get feedback, in my opinion. It's nice to like see people's facial expression when you show them stuff, and because you kind of you get all the hidden subtext that you wouldn't get if it was all online or like in a survey or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just get more information.
Right.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm guessing you haven't done like any like keyword research or anything like that, right?
I have done some keyword research. Yeah. I've been trying to decide which long tail ones I want to kind of try and rank under. The space isn't too competitive, but it's like not super easy either. It's like kind of in the middle. The longer tail you go, obviously, the easier it gets. But there are quite a few products that do this. And the search volume isn't like nearly as high as something like voice to text. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think like it has to be, you have to have pretty good SEO to get results, I think, in this space. Like relatively, like not great, but it would definitely be a time investment. That's one of the other reasons. It's kind of like it's easy for me to do manual outreach for the first like 10, 20 companies. Mm-hmm. To get 10, 20 companies through SEO probably would be higher effort, and I would get less information back. A lot of them would probably bounce.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I think it makes sense. Sorry. Go. I was going to say for me, for this product, I think it makes sense to do it after I'm like a little more confident in the offering and just like the product in general and what people want.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Have you, you still have the book Traction, right?
I do. Yeah.
Do you remember Patio 11? He made a like bingo card creator. There's a chapter in there. Maybe have another read on that, because that one was a great like great advice. Like he would make pages on like owl bingo cards or something like that. You remember that?
Yeah.
Might have read that.
Yeah. So one of the things I might try and do is message templates. So there's a lot of search volume for that, and like appointment reminder templates, whatever.
Yeah, stuff like that.
And then create those. And by the way, if you want to automate this, whatever, there's a little less competition there.
But that's for after. That's kind of once you have.
Yeah.
You could even use that too. Yeah. Sorry?
I just think bingo card creator was also like such a niche product, you know? Like I feel like there wasn't a lot of competition.
Well, when I started Vocomatic, some pages that I made, I like hand wrote like, I don't know, maybe like 100 pages of like automatic transcription for lawyers, right? Like, and if you were to search that, and it's very low search volume, I think I'm the top one for the automatic transcription for lawyers, right? So stuff like that, even if it's like one or two, but it's still something that Google picks up on.
That's fair. That's fair. And if you do enough pages, then even if it's one or two a month, all of a sudden it's a couple hundred.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
So, you know, something to consider when you actually start looking at SEO.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do for those pages is have dynamic templates that like swap in the words. Mm-hmm. And I have to make sure the content is different enough that they all get indexed separately.
I see. Yes, but at the same time, like Google can kind of figure that out too, right?
Can it? Okay.
Yeah. So like what I did, like literally, like I wrote down like per each one. I was like for lawyers, it's like depositions and blah 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 blah, right? And then if it went to like whatever podcast, and like I would use like certain words in there and stuff like that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So, interesting.
Again, something to consider.
Yeah. No doubt. That's smart. Yeah, that is on my list of to-dos, so maybe I'll do that soon. It can't hurt. It can't hurt to kind of get it set up and start indexing and whatever.
Yeah.
Clientelify.
People still ask about it. It's like, oh, what's Charlie up to? I'm like, Clientelify.
That's right. It's going to be big. It's going to be huge. I think, I think there's some promise there if I can do some okay sales. I think I underestimated how valuable it was before I really looked into the problem. Because I put together a pitch deck for my buddy I was showing to use it. More for me, because I was like, okay, what are the stats on like no-show rates and how much more likely someone is to show up and not miss an appointment if they get a text reminder versus email versus whatever. And it was pretty shocking. Like it was pretty much across the board, like typically at least 50% less no-shows, especially if it's a text. You get a lot worse results with email. The other thing I never really realized, which I saw on a website and then I fact-checked and I found in a bunch of reports, is the open rate for text is 99%.
Yeah, text is crazy.
And it's just because it's like still super early to the party on text, and the telecom providers haven't really learned how to filter out junk yet. And not that I want anyone sending junk stuff on my platform. Like I absolutely don't, but I don't know about you, but I like occasionally get junk stuff on my phone, and it's because they just like don't know how to filter it yet. Mm-hmm. Whereas Google like will play God, and like my transactional emails will go to junk that are like absolutely not spammy. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, well, I have a 0% bounce rate so far. Like nothing has bounced. I don't know why you're sent. Like I have DMARC set up, DKIM. You should not be sending me to junk. And they're just like, well, we don't know you, so we're going to send you to junk. So I get it, but I think for that reason, it's like deliverability, even though I'm using SendGrid and like have set up, as far as I'm aware, everything correctly. Deliverability is tougher in email. People just don't open them. Like the open rate, even like a good open rate for transactional email is like 40%. Like that's like good. Mm-hmm. And so, and the other thing I didn't realize is people, as long as it's timely information, which basically everything that will go through Clientelify is, like appointment reminders, whatever, people wildly prefer text to email. Like people don't want email for that. People want text because people will check text and they'll be like, oh shit, I have something in an hour. If you get an email, you probably miss it. And so I didn't realize that either. So that was also cool. And then the other cool thing, so I'm doing online scheduling, which isn't quite done yet, is it will increase the amount of appointments that are booked by a little over 10% on average, which totally makes sense because I don't know about you, but when I book stuff online, if I can't book online, I'll just go to another website usually. I'll like find one that I can.
Yeah.
And even with restaurants, like I don't even like having to call in. It's just like I want to book it on OpenTable or something.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it, I'll just book somewhere else. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
And so many of these small businesses do not have online booking, or they have just like the jankiest online booking that like doesn't really work and you can't really find it.
Yeah.
And so that was a huge thing, and I didn't realize the value of that as well. And then the ability to sign people up through online booking and then automatically put them onto the appointment reminder drip is also huge because you just get both automatically and you don't have to do anything.
Right.
And then one of the craziest stats I learned was 25% of the cost of a lot of these clinics is booking appointments, like 25%, because you have like an administrative staff, like literally basically just doing that, like booking people, calling people to remind them, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't appreciate that as well. And when I was talking to my buddies, they were like, like we spend about 25% of our time, like reminding people to come in, like scheduling stuff, whatever. And I was like, I underestimated the benefit.
Right.
I was skeptical of a lot of the stuff, but they were like, no, like it's a huge, huge help.
Right. That's pretty good or great.
Yeah. So it was good to see that because as I was building it and like just like sitting by myself with the lights dim, just like coding, I was like, this sucks. No one even will want this. What am I doing? And I was like, just finish it, and then it'll be fine. Mm-hmm. Like even as a portfolio project, like whatever, it'll just be like kind of cool that you finished it.
Yeah.
And now that I'm actually getting it in front of people, I've been getting a better response than I was expecting, which is nice. It makes me a little more optimistic about it.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. It's interesting when you start to talk to people, you hear all those like benefits that you wouldn't have thought of yourself, because obviously you're not like deep in it, but you're building the solution for whatever these problems they have are.
That's right. And I think, I think going forward, that's why, in my opinion, especially if you don't want to raise, if you want to raise in like try and build in $100 billion company, it's totally different, I guess. I don't really understand why so many people want to do that. That's like totally different discussion. But if you're just trying to build a profitable software company, it's so much easier if you just start with like an already like partially or fully solved problem and you just build another copy of that. And I always think like the classic example I always think of is no one's being like banking is a bad business model. Like you'd never hear someone say that. But when you tell them your idea, they're like, oh, someone already did it. And it's like, you literally work at like one of 1,000 banks and you're telling me someone already did it. Like 1 million people have already done what you do and you're making money doing it. Like what's the problem?
Yeah.
For whatever reason in tech, I think because it's such a like relatively new industry versus like most other industries, banking, automotive, whatever, people's minds just immediately go there. Like someone already did it and it's like, okay, well, so what? Like good, it works. It's going to work for me too.
Yeah. It's the counterintuitive part of all of this.
That's right. And so this is the first thing I've built where there's huge overlap with other products. And it's like, yeah, there's some stuff that's different, but it's more the same than it is different in terms of functionality. Yeah. And that was a smart decision.
Yeah.
It's the easiest way to be fairly confident people will want something.
Mm-hmm. And it's, I think there's something interesting around that. It's like marketing itself wouldn't exist if all the products needed to be unique.
Yeah.
Right, because marketing is all about right place, right time, right message, right audience. Right.
That's right. Especially if you're selling like shoes or like t-shirts, like basically a commodity like Nike or McDonald's. Yeah. Like food is like becoming commoditized, especially fast food. There are so many different burger joints. Yeah. And like somehow people think of it differently. But like, is it really that different than a Burger King burger? Like really? Like, yeah, I get that it tastes a little different. They use their own sauce, but it's a lot more the same than it is different.
Yeah, but it's different in the mind of the prospect, which is the most important.
I totally agree. Yeah. I agree. That's a big part of the need for marketing to kind of like
differentiate.
I guess differentiate is the word I'm looking for. Position the product slightly differently, even though it has the same like features or benefits or whatever, solves the same problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
That's it for me.
I don't know if you have anything else.
I did know. Sorry.
Oh, nothing. What are you going to say?
I wanted to talk about emails and text. Actually, I forgot to mention this when we were talking about it.
Okay.
Who was I listening to? I think there's a guy named Mitch Harper, big commerce founder, whatever. He runs this course called Insane Growth. They have podcasts. I take in all their free stuff because why not, right? Yeah. One thing that he pointed out with email is that most people use. I've never been in a position where emails from different people in departments because I've been a developer, right? It's a lot of like, here's kind of right. But even then, actually, now that I think about it, so email is other people's to-do lists.
Yeah, right? I've heard Paul Graham say that, I think.
Interesting. Yeah. So when I heard that, I was like, whoa, right? So then when you mentioned
it's a to-do list that's controlled externally by other people.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I remember watching a Paul Graham talk where he's like, someone needs to solve that problem. And I think the way it's going to be solved, this was one of my ideas. Can't remember if I bought the domain or not, so I'm not going to say it, but it's a sweet name. It's a .com. And the idea is being able to subscribe to certain feeds, basically. And so much like you have a Slack bot to be like, oh, you have a new user that signed up or whatever, you could subscribe to a feed that would tell you, like, it could be from Tom, for instance. Like I'm subscribing to Tom. Tom can send me stuff. I am not subscribing to Dan. Dan cannot send me things. Like he can send them, but like I just am not going to get them. Uh-huh. And maybe I want to subscribe to a weather alerting service, and I want to subscribe to a feed that tells me when new users sign up. And if I start getting annoyed by the new users feed, I can just turn it off and I just stop getting it. So basically email where the user's in control. They can switch it off. And that was basically, I think that was basically what Paul Graham was getting at. Like email where you're in control. Without having to like actually subscribe, unsubscribe, and do like that whole messy nonsense. It's just like, you can just like toggle off. Like I'm done. So basically it would be a lot more like push alerts in an app. but it would be for messaging as well.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's a huge need for that. Like absolutely massive. Because like email is just like 90% garbage now. For me anyway. Yeah.
And that's why with no show or no shows with emails, that doesn't work. But then when you have phone numbers,
people don't open. Yeah. Yeah. And the
right?
other issue with phone numbers
to think.
Yeah. Well, the issue that with phone numbers too is, or not the issue, it's just the thing you need to be careful of is people really don't like getting marketing emails in their text messages. So you just like can't do that. You like can't do it, or else it just like completely destroys their trust for, I guess, your alerts, and they can block the number. They can do a lot of things, right? Yeah. So it's just one of those things where you need to be, as long as you're not abusing it, you just get way higher open rates, like way higher. Like it is like basically 100%, which is insane.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, that's all I had for it.
Cool. All right. Another stand-up. More stuff that we did. Yay.
Yeah. Kind of therapeutic.
Yeah. Just to word vomit it all out.
Yeah.
I finished a Trello card the other day that had 200 to-dos when I finished it.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. Because, like I'll make a Trello card with like 10 to-dos and then it'll kind of like morph into something else and then it'll just grow. Yeah.
That's pretty well.
Yeah, it was like 1,000 story points. Maybe more.
Was management upset with that?
No, my velocity is so high right now.
Okay.
Just shipping so hard.
Nice.
Yeah. All right.
That's all I got.
Cool. Catch you guys all next week. Bye.